these hands. How many times have I washed them? Before and after inserting them into smelly latex gloves and putting them inside people's dirty mouths. How many times? Less than 10? Slightly more than 100? Between 1,000 and 3,000? Over 10,000 times? I'm just going to tilt you back now. Okay. Now I'm just looking. Just taking a look around to see what we're working with. Open real big for me now. Good. Open real big. How many times have I looked in the mirror and not believed that the face I was looking at was that of my own? How many times have I looked at my hand and seen it as entirely unfamiliar? I had a dream once where raspberries were dispersed like water from a third faucet installed between the hot and cold, and large animals like giraffes and camels walked free and wore large tapestries of painted nylon around their necks and spoke French in a painfully high falsetto voice that shattered the glass of city windows, which then fell down upon them, chopping them into sections easily and conveniently carried by employees of rendering companies to their vans. I had a daughter who adored me and saw through whatever it is that other people see in me that makes them think of me as repellent. I have a job in which I help people. I help them feel better, and I help them lead lives that can be productive and fruitful. They are local merchants and business people, school teachers and driving instructors, veterans and orchestra conductors, politicians and astronauts, pole vaulters and architects. I can help them all. I can help them one at a time, day after day, and year after year. Although they would rather that I didn't, because they would rather writhe in pain like children and hold their pathetic heads while trying to convince themselves that what they are experiencing is something temporary or perhaps even psychosomatic and easily curable by chewing on bottles of aspirin, while the gums recede and the yellow teeth rot down to the nerves which dangle loose inside the mouths like frayed and disconnected electrical wires. How many times? Try to estimate. How many times? How many times? Try to estimate. How many times? How many times did I come home to my wife? How many times did I make love to her? How many times did I lie next to her and listen to her sleep and feel her back against my chest? How many times before she left? How many times have I taken my daughter to the amusement park and rode upon the large pirate ship that's appeal is that it rocks backwards and forwards, slowly at first and then increasingly more so until one's stomach turns and one becomes nauseated? How many times have I bent over to walk hand in hand with my daughter down sandy boardwalks or supermarket aisles? How many times have I felt the pat of her tiny feet walking over my back, waking me up on Sunday mornings before it's properly light outside? Car wash operators, heating technicians, lumberyard supervisors, certified public accountants, those people who call you on the phone, fire marshals, property surveyors, lavatory technicians, all of them terrified, miserable before me. How many times have I wanted someone to talk to tell about my dreams, of how I see zebras being transported down Fifth Avenue on the tops of yellow taxis? How many times have I wanted someone to talk to? How many times have I wanted someone to help?
being videotaped.
Excuse me?
You're being videotaped.
What do you mean?
They're videotaping the bridge so they can see who jumps off. Well, they're constantly painting the bridge as well. It's kind of interesting, don't you think?
How so?
Well, what would you think of something that was perpetually being painted and videotaped?
What would I think of it?
Yeah.
I suppose I would think it was rather unusual. Sounds kind of like a riddle.
Well, a lot of people don't admit to liking this bridge because it's not a natural thing. That's to say it's not it's a man-made thing. A lot of people say, why can't you just appreciate the hills over there? Or the way you can see the currents making tiny patterns in the water. But did you know that nothing in this town is actually real? Did you know that Golden Gate Park was just a bunch of sand dunes and shrubbery until a Scottish gardener came along and planted about 4 million trees? All of those waterfalls, the lakes and the meadows, they're all fake. But people like that. That's all right. Sometimes we can make nature go a little bit faster. Suggest a thing or two. Sometimes we can give nature a little push.
What's it called when a fetus gestates in the fallopian tube instead of the uterus?
I don't know. Tubal pregnancy?
No, that's not right.
What then?
No. Tubal?
No.
It's not tubal. I'll have to call into one of those TV shows and ask. One of those doctor programs. I was watching the news last night, and there was this weather guy on, and he was standing in front of this big chroma key map of the United States. And all of a sudden, the map went completely black except for these white block letters that said, "I have a problem." And then it switched back to the map again, and he was pointing out a low pressure system over Louisiana. And then it went black and it said, "My thing won't work."
What did they do?
Nothing. Nobody did anything. I watched the whole rest of the show, not a word.
They're all brain damaged from chroma key anyway, those weathermen. I think that's what makes them tell really bad jokes and wear those really horrible ties.
What do you do?
What?
What do you do for a living?
This and that. Whatever.
Give me an example.
Why? Why should what a person does for a living define who they are? I mean, what does it matter? What's money? Who cares? Who cares about anything?
Well, what did you do to earn the money that you used to buy the clothes that you had on when I met you?
Specifically, I don't remember.
Well, generally then, what might you have done to purchase the clothes that you had on?
I've done a lot of things.
Tell me one.
I worked in a cafe.
Really? Like pouring coffee and serving danishes and toasting bagels, steaming milk, that kind of thing.
Yep.
That's cool.
Really? I'm glad you think so.
What else?
Why does it matter?
I'm curious.
I had an interesting dream this morning. Wouldn't you rather hear about that?
Not really.
I had a dream. I got the part of the deadly Harvey Oswald in some kind of a JFK remake. The thing was, though, I was terrible at it. I couldn't settle in a position that I felt comfortable in. And I decided on keeping my eyes closed. And they kept opening involuntarily. Then I decided on keeping them open. And they kept closing involuntarily.
You know, I used to live with this guy for like a year. And when I first met him, he was unlike any other person I'd met. Like he was some special alien that had just stepped off this beautiful spaceship and hitchhiked for days and nights and jumped aboard long freight trains and rode stolen bicycles just to approach me in the grocery section of the supermarket and say, "Would you like to go out with me?"
Did you?
Did I?
Did you accept?
Of course I did.
And?
And over time, this thing that he had began to fall apart. And he got more and more human. Till that's all he was. And he used to tell me his dreams, and they were these terribly ordinary human dreams.
Like?
Like he got the part of the deadly Harvey Oswald in a remake of JFK.
Do you have a boyfriend?
No. Do you have a girlfriend?
No.
What's her name?
Debbie.
Did you go to college?
Mm-hmm.
Did you graduate?
No.
How many semesters?
6.
Topic.
What?
Ectopic. I just thought when a fetus gestates in a tube.
Do you want to have children?
No.
Why not?
Do you?
No.
Why?
I don't know.
Think.
Do you want to get married?
Are you asking?
No.
No. This is a really comfortable futon.
Thanks.
It's really,
Soft.
yeah. Do you have any cigarettes?
No.
You have a really nice roof. Can you imagine being responsible for burning down your entire apartment building? It'd be like one big red wall of burning limbs and personal possessions. people screaming to be rescued from fire escapes and throwing children onto trampolines.
Imagine going to pick your friend up at the airport and arriving just in time to see his plane crash on the runway. What could you do? You would have to walk back to your car and drive home without him, wouldn't you?
Do you like living here?
Yeah. It's alright. I could deal without roommates, though.
Yeah. Roommates are a terrible thing.
It would be nice to live alone.
Mm.
The guy next door here,
Mm.
he moans all night long.
How?
Like he's in pain, or like he's lamenting something. Just like that, like an animal. Like an animal.
This is a really comfortable futon.
I like them better than mattresses.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I never really realized how expensive mattresses were until I needed to buy one.
Yeah, they're expensive.
They're really kind of awkward too. And this is really,
Soft.
yeah.
Did you enjoy yourself when you were growing up? When you were a child?
Yes. It was alright. Did you?
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. My father was killed in a hang gliding accident, but other than that, it was okay.
That's terrible.
Yeah. My mother and I were driving to pick him up at the airport. It wasn't even an airport, it was just a rural landing strip near where we lived. And he crashed into the front windshield of a station wagon that was 4 car lengths ahead of us. They didn't even see him coming. He was trying to land on the freeway, but he picked the wrong lane, oncoming traffic.
That's awful.
It's the whole thing. I remember when we were driving there, seeing him flying above us, and I remember, yelling, "Is that him? Is that him?" And the idea of my father floating so high above us was really exciting. And then he started coming down, and my mother started screaming, "What's he doing? What's he doing?" And as he got lower and lower, she started banging her fists on the steering wheel. And after he crashed, the remains of the hang glider looked like his, but they weren't sure. And I remember jumping up and down and screaming, "Was it him? Was it him? Was it him? Was it him?"
Do you know what time it is?
What?
I used to have all these clocks in here, but they kept disappearing one by one. These little digital clocks.
Hmm. Your clocks kept disappearing?
Yeah, I think someone was probably stealing them.
I was at the train station the other day, and I kept seeing this guy who looked incredibly lost. He would walk in one direction and then stop like he'd forgotten something or changed his mind and turn around and walk back in the other direction. And then he'd stop and bend down like he was going to pick something up. And then he'd get up and he started walking, and then he'd stop and turn around and walk back, stop and bend down. And he did this for like 20 minutes.
And you just watched him?
Well, I went up to him and I said, "What are you doing, sir?"
Yeah.
He asked me if I wanted to have dinner with him, but the thing is if I hadn't have asked him, he probably would have kept on doing that forever.
I think I have to start thinking about finding out what time it is.
I love that movie.
Excuse me?
I love that movie.
Oh, it's very, different.
How so?
Excuse me?
In what ways is it different, and different from what?
Well, it's different from, well, I don't know, from a lot of other movies.
In what ways?
Are you a film critic?
No.
You sound like a film critic.
What does a film critic sound like?
Like you.
But don't you think there was an amazing amount of intimacy in that film?
I'm not sure I know what you mean by intimacy.
Don't you think that the filmmaker used techniques that really gave the characters in the narrative an incredible amount of credibility? Don't you think that there are things going on that just allowed you to suspend your disbelief almost subconsciously and feel a real intimacy with the characters?
I'm sorry, suspend what?
Nothing.
Would I almost believe you were suspended from what?
Why are you here? I mean, why aren't you someplace seeing white men can't dribble?
Is that a different motion picture?
That is a different motion picture, yes.
My daughter works here.
Oh,
I don't think she's here, though.
were you supposed to pick her up?
Not really, no. She ran away from home.
When?
This afternoon. I thought she might come here.
I did see a girl in the lobby.
No, that's not her.
Did you two have a fight?
Yeah.
Does she do this a lot?
No, that's the worrisome part. This is the first time.
My boyfriend and I had a fight too.
What was your fight about?
It's nothing worth mentioning. Yours?
Nothing worth mentioning, too. Where did you meet your boyfriend?
Today?
No, initially.
He was a temp at work. He delivered mail to all the cubes.
And that brief window of opportunity was ample to establish contact?
Sure. Well, after a while, he would stay a little bit longer in my cube, and we would just talk about stuff, and he would sit on the desk and bend my paper clips.
Does he want to be a mailman?
No,
What then?
I don't know. He's one of those people that, well, you've probably never met one, but they don't want to do anything. I used to say, there must be something that you dream about, something behind those eyes. There's got to be something.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Perhaps it's something childish, like a police officer or a veterinarian
Or a fireman.
or an airline pilot, and he just doesn't want to admit it.
I'm really sorry about what I said earlier. I was being really condescending and
Oh,
arrogant.
no, that's okay. You're just very sure about what it is that you're talking about.
No, I'm not really.
What are you?
What? What am I? Besides the obvious?
What is the obvious?
Sorry, I'm a copy editor for a computer magazine.
Oh, that sounds interesting. You must be one of those people that knows everything about computers.
No, actually, I know nothing about computers.
Well, you must. I mean, you read and you edit the words, correct? You ensure the quality of the words, right?
Well, the quality of a sentence really has nothing to do with what the words really mean. It's more about what position they're in and what their wants are. Like a noun needs a verb, restrictive clauses need modifying. All that I really need to know is why they depend on what they depend on. I mean, once they're next to what they need to be next to, I really have no idea.
That's interesting.
It is?
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Well, I'd rather be a film critic.
Well, perhaps one day. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just have this pain in my face. It's just from this terrible toothache. I've had it all
You have a
day.
toothache?
Yes.
I'm a dentist.
You're not.
No. Do you mind if I, sit?
No, it's fine. Prove it.
Prove to you I'm a dentist?
Prove to me that you're a dentist.
My business card. Look, DDS. Right after my name, see? DDS.
Yeah, but you could have picked that up off the street somewhere.
My driver's license. I'll show you my driver's license.